What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Renegade Standard Podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts Matt Llewellyn and Mike Andrews. We got a great show planned for you guys this evening. We are fashionably late, so appreciate you guys for hanging in there with us. As always, technical difficulties. If you are tuning in on X, we can now see your comments. So hit like, retweet the stream, and if you want to join the YouTube family, head over to youtube.com/49ers Hive or youtube.com/nothing-but-niners and join from there. Share your thoughts, hit like, and subscribe while you're there. We appreciate it more than you know. We got a great show planned for you this evening. We'll be doing a small recap of the 49ers Cardinals game, and then most of the show will be previewing the Christmas night showdown versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now that I got all that out, Matt, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Zach. It was a nice win over the Cardinals. It's been a less than normal, stressful lead up to Christmas for me and the family. So we're enjoying this one. It's my daughter's first one. So we're getting all that stuff in order, but can't complain, man. All I want for Christmas is a 49ers victory over the Ravens.
That's right. That's right. Mike, how you doing?
Oh, man, better and better day by day, guys. You know, I'm ready to turn some pages here and start looking forward to some football. And I'm just going to tell you guys right now, this is one of the games I'm looking most forward to. I have zero stress level for this game, no matter the outcome. I am so happy. So we'll get into it, I'm sure, but I'm doing good, guys.
All right, let's get right into it. So, let's start with the Cardinals game. Like I said, the 49ers once again defeated the Arizona Cardinals. Their bird hunting season continued this past Sunday, and they beat the Cardinals 45-29. Put up a season high in points, 45. I believe the previous season high was 42, which they put up multiple times. Mike, if I told you, I think I saw you post something similar, Liz, the Cardinals are going to put up 29 points on the 49ers, how would you have felt?
I probably would have panicked, honestly. I just didn't see it. I know that I would have been like, oh, man, Kyler Murray must have just kept plays alive and ran all over the Niners, and they broke contain, because I think Kyler Murray is one of the better of the mobile quarterbacks at running and throwing. When you combine the two just individually, right? I think he's one of the better guys as far as accuracy, where he places the ball placement, and then his ability to scramble and run. And you know, not just scramble, but also as like design run plays. I think he's one of the better of the quarterbacks in the NFL. So I would have just assumed that that's what it was, and I would have thought that it was a nail biter shootout. But when I finally got a chance to go back and watch the game, it wasn't quite that, but it wasn't as much of a garbage time points as people made it seem either. Like the Cardinals earned those 29 points, and I get that their last score was on our backup defense, but they earned it like every yard of it. And the Niners made sure they helped them along the way.
Yeah, that game for a second could have gotten very weird. The Cardinals strike first. They get out to that 7-0 lead. Then the 49ers answer right back. But, I mean, before going into half, Ronnie Bell fumbles a punt that's returned for a touchdown. Now, luckily, he was ruled down. Matt, I saw some.
Not according to Charles Davis.
Yeah, not according to Charles Davis. He goes, maybe if his forearm was touching down, the camera angle is just showing his forearm with the ball going straight down.
And he's like, his forearm didn't come down. Yeah. I'm like, bro, what?
Do you know what a forearm is, Charles?
I was just like, hey, can somebody get this man some glasses? He obviously has vision problems. Yeah, that could have got really weird before the half. Fortunately, it didn't. Although I think overall, if you would have told me before this game that each team, or both teams, I should say, would have combined for 74 points, I thought it would have been a much closer game. It was weird in that the 49ers were able to get a lot of burst offense. They got a lot of chunk plays. They got quick touchdowns. They got long touchdowns. And the Cardinals were the ones that kind of sustained more of the drives. I think at one point after, it was like well into the second quarter, where it was like the 49ers had only had the ball for like 5 minutes and the Cardinals had the ball for almost 20 at that point. Very interesting kind of game to watch, and that'll kind of play into my preview. It was nice to finally see a defensive touchdown. Shout outs to Charvarius Ward, who had 2 picks in this game. He played a really, really good game. But yeah, just a weird game overall. And one that I thought, while the score the 49ers won by 16, and it wasn't really close. But for some reason, the Cardinals were able to make the score closer than it should have been, if that makes sense. This was a game where the way the Cardinals played, I thought they should have scored like 16 or 17 rather than 20, 29.
Yeah. I think I saw some people saying, and it made me crack up, is this what it feels like to have the refs on your side? Or like not necessarily on your side, but not actively rooting against you? You know, like that play was turned over. There was a couple other plays that kind of could have gone either way with the refs call, and they did go in the benefit of the 49ers. And it's kind of like, it feels good, you know, like they're not actively out to screw the 49ers. At least, of course, is what it feels like as a fan. They probably don't give a shit who wins or loses, but it was nice. But that game could have gotten very weird. It could have gone into half 21-20, 49ers only up a point, but the fumble was overturned. 49ers got the ball. I don't remember if they ended up scoring on that drive. I don't think they did. No, they did not.
No, that was going into half.
Midfield.
It was 21-13 at half. Yeah.
Got to midfield, and Purdy kind of threw up a prayer of a throw to the end zone, which made it to the end zone. But
that went further than I thought it was going to be able to go. Although I will say that thing was like Rainbow City. That was a arm punt.
Yeah. So
that's the way you're supposed to throw those, though.
Yes.
But to that point, I was surprised since the first time I've seen Kyle actually go for it with that little amount of time once getting the ball. Normally he's like, let's just do a draw play and see what we get on this, and then we'll determine if we're just going to take knees and go to the half. Yeah. He went for it. I haven't seen Kyle do that probably ever with that little bit of time, especially going into the half, knowing they were getting the ball right back. He doesn't normally go for it. So that speaks volumes about Kyle and his comfortability with Brock Purdy, running the offense.
Yeah, 100%. And maybe there's still a little animosity there towards Jonathan Gannon when he was with Philly. He wants to just beat the hell out of this guy whenever he plays him. There was a moment that we kind of skipped over where Brock Purdy gets hurt and leaves the game, takes a kind of weird shot to the head neck area from Dennis Gardeck. Hell of a play by him, though. Still is able to get the ball to Kyle Juszczyk for like a 9-yard gain. But he's laying down and everyone's like, oh, shit. Like, here we go. Like, it's going to happen. What's happening? Like, PTSD kicks in from the championship game. He exits the game, goes immediately into the blue tent. We see Sam Darnold come in. This is what so many NFL fans have been telling me for the last 4 or 5 months. Anybody could play quarterback in this offense. Sam Darnold couldn't complete a pass. Now, to his credit, probably one of them should have been caught, but he immediately airmails a piss missile to George Kittle that could have been intercepted. The next play bounces off of Kittle's hands, and then I think the very next play, Purdy comes back in. But that just goes to show you, no, not everybody can play this in this offense. Now, to be fair, he was probably rusty, but the touch just isn't there, and that just goes to show you the arm strength isn't everything.
That's the key thing, and that pass to Kittle, people were like, man, should have caught it. Sam Darnold threw that football like he was trying to throw it through a brick wall. And that's the difference between having arm strength and having arm talent. I hate that phrase, but it's knowing when to pull back a little bit and throwing a catchable ball. I think that was just one that was fired in there too hard. But it was clear to me that Purdy operates this offense at a much higher ceiling than Sam Darnold. The one thing I will say is that I would have more confidence in Sam Darnold if something did happen, which, we were close. I thought he got Charlie horsed. If you look at the replay, it looked like the knee drove right into Purdy's thigh. Turned out to be a neck stinger. When I saw him get hit, like kind of up in the face, it didn't look like a forcible hit to his head. It looked like more, when you look back, the arm of the defender hitting him kind of was what probably caused that stinger. But I wasn't too concerned about the concussion, other than the fact that he's had 2 already this season. 2, 1 diagnosed, 1 suspected from me anyway. And so I wasn't too worried, but I'm much more confident in a Sam Darnold having to take over for a little bit than I was last year with Josh Johnson. I think that there's obviously clear delineation between those two, but it was nice to see Purdy come back in and not only be effective, but finish off that drive for a touchdown.
Yeah. And to the credit of Sam Darnold, I know it felt like he couldn't complete anything. He was 2 of 3. He completed 66% of his passes, 20 yards. And there was a drop by George. I mean, let's be real. I mean, as critical as we are, and as despite what it felt like, he still wasn't even terrible when he was out there. So I was happy to see just how things played out for them. And to rewind just a little bit about the penalties, the referees really just didn't even know they had flags in this game. I think there was a total of 5 accepted penalties in the entire game. And that's got to be a season. The Niners usually get more than that in one game, regardless of who they're playing. So it was a beautiful thing to see. Let the guys go out there and play. But the time of possession, like you guys are talking about, the amount of third down, the Niners only had 7 third downs this entire game. Like, the offense was clicking. At one point, they had like 43 offensive plays run and 42 points or something like that. It was insane how efficient the 49ers offense was. So it was a really, really good thing to see. And you want to see those improvements heading down into the important part of the season as we get closer to January.
Yeah, 100%.
And to your point about the penalties, the 49ers only penalty was that offsides by Givens. And I think that was on the first drive of the game that actually gave Arizona a first down. But yeah, it was nice to see. The offense was responsible, obviously, for 38 points. There was that pick 6 from Charvarius Ward. But yeah, just the offensive efficiency. And who would have thought going into this year with the questions surrounding Purdy, if you would have told me before this season that the 49ers would be one of the top offenses in the NFL in explosive plays, I don't know that I would have believed you. But here we are in December, and the 49ers just seem to get bomb after bomb. They breakaway after breakaway. And when they're not doing that, it seems like they just steadily control the game. So props to them for that. I'm glad that they didn't overlook this opponent to the extent that it cost them a loss, trying to look ahead to the Ravens.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people were saying, especially because, and I see it in the chat already, missed tackles, like these things piled up. And if you look at their missed tackles, like game by game, it happened around after the Cowboys game. So it's like 5 weeks into the season, they kind of gradually got more and more. And then they just like, boom, double digit. And then they had the bye week, got healthy, got some rest. And then they were back down to very low amount of missed tackles. And it's been 6 weeks since the bye week, and the missed tackles are piling back up. So maybe it's a matter of endurance. Maybe it's a matter of rest. But also a lot of it was they were missing Hargrave. They were missing Armstead. Like, they were missing a lot of key pieces out there. And, each layer kind of had to pick up more. So is it something to be concerned about? 100%. But is it end all be all? I don't think so. I think the 49ers could definitely improve on that day one. Or I should say, first drive going in on Monday night. It shouldn't be something to focus too much about unless you guys are concerned about it. Missed tackles, is that too big of a concern?
I'm concerned about it. I think 16 they had on the game. It's, again, to me, that's a coaching thing, because this is a team that before this year we generally considered to be one of the most sound tackling teams in the NFL, and we haven't seen that so far this year. So I wonder what's going on. And when you get into the playoffs and the games get allegedly tighter, these missed tackles, if they're like this, can stack up. There was one from the Cardinals running back, Amari DiMercato, where it looked like 6 or 7 guys touched him, and he popped out the backside and ran for a touchdown. Those things can kill you in a playoff game, in a close playoff game. It's something they really, really need to work on, and it's why I'm hoping that they can get a bye, because that'll allow them for a week of, hey, let's work on these fundamentals. Let's make sure we're coming out crisp. We're sticking to our assignments. We're doing our thing. That to me is a little worrying, but they're so overwhelmingly talented that it kind of covers that up a little bit.
Yeah. Mike, do you have something to add?
Yeah, no, the missed tackles are 100% a concern for me. I'm not going to lie to you. I expect Fred Warner to miss more tackles than anybody on the team because he goes for the punch so often. But normally it's like a safe risk that he's taking because there's someone else by him. The Niners just aren't swarming the way that they used to. So it makes it a little harder for them to get there. And so, I mean, it's easier to break one tackle as opposed to having to break 2 simultaneously. You know what I mean? So they have to get back to the swarming mentality that they had. But that also comes with the improvement of the secondary. When they're locking down their guys so much, it's going to take them the corners, the DBs, longer to get to whoever the ball carrier happens to be at that time. So it's give and take. But like Matt said, hopefully with that bye week, I'm going to speak it into existence. We're going to get it. We're going to get the number 1 seed. Hopefully with that bye week, they go in there and, like Matt said, they work on those fundamentals. And shout out to the resident GM of Nothing But Niners, Tony. I kind of was going to ask you guys if he could join tonight, but I don't think he said he was going to be going to bed pretty soon. But he was the first X comment that I've seen since I've been doing a show with you guys, and it showed up with the little black icon. I thought it was pretty dope. So I like seeing that. I went and took off our feed on Twitch, and I added it to my YouTube just to see if I can get another comment from the YouTubers, just because I like seeing the little black box pop up down there in the corner.
Yeah, no, Tony's always welcome here. No, not a problem at all. We'd love to have him on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm optimistic that the missed tackles are just a endurance thing and something they can clean up quickly. But the Baltimore Ravens are not going to make it easy on this team. So hopefully they can get it together going into this game. But all right, let's wrap up this Cardinals game. So that was kind of going into halftime. First drive out of halftime, the 49ers go for a play, 75 yards. And I've seen this play being shared as a highlight for 2 different players, right? At first, Brock Purdy has a man in his lap. He evades to the left, and then he looks down and he sees Christian McCaffrey wide open. How did the Cardinals forget about Christian McCaffrey? I have no idea, but they do. And he's so open to the point that he could fall down after catching this ball, get back up, and walk into the end zone. And I understand it's a hell of a play by McCaffrey, but that's not made if Purdy doesn't evade the pressure, roll out, keep his eyes downfield, and then hit McCaffrey. So credit to both of them, but I just wanted to share that because I keep seeing it being shared as like a weird way to go against Purdy, almost like, look at how wide open these people are. They could fall down. They're still going to get the ball. It's like, yo, like he's evading a 290-pound man going right into his lap in 2 seconds. So I just had to share that. All right. Then Cardinals go for a field goal. Niners, again, 6 plays, 60 yards. Christian McCaffrey touchdown. McCaffrey had 7 touchdowns in the 2 games against the Cardinals this season. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And then, so I just want to say, Purdy finished this game with 4 passing touchdowns, 16 of 25, 242 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a 93.1 QBR, and a pass rating of 135.3, excuse me. Talk about a homecoming. I mean, he's from the Arizona, Gilbert area. It was amazing to see him have that level of success in front of his friends and family. Overall, Matt, I'll start with you. What did you think of this game? What did you take away from it? Good or bad?
Yeah, listen, on that touchdown to Christian McCaffrey that everybody's giving, McCaffrey all the props for, like you said, that play doesn't happen if Brock Purdy doesn't sense the rush and roll out. And if you look at the all 22, that's kind of why Christian McCaffrey was so open, right? By the time Christian McCaffrey gets to that linebacker, Brock Purdy's already flushing and his back is to the line of scrimmage, right? So there's an expectation that, oh, maybe there's a sack, and the linebacker definitely got caught looking. But it's not like Christian McCaffrey just dropped him with some super good route or whatever. The fact that Purdy was able to roll away from that interior pressure and roll out to his left, throw across his body. Some people are criticizing the throw. I thought the throw was fine. If you watch Christian McCaffrey, he does like a DB backpedal for like 15 yards to catch that thing. If he just runs, it's there. And shout outs to JT O'Sullivan. He said something like that too in his video. But I thought he played a good game and utilized the plays in front of him. He didn't have all of the wow throws that he had against, say, Seattle or whatever, except for one touchdown that we're going to talk about in the future. But he made a lot of plays happen. Going back to when he came back from injury, it was a 3rd and 2 in the red zone, and he hits George Kittle, right, on kind of an ad-libbed route, and he was able to step up in the pocket and throw. At some point, people are going to realize whether it's yak, whether it's throwing it deep, whether it's timing routes, whether it's anticipatory routes, whether it's getting flushed out. This kid is effective, at least effective in every aspect of the game, and excels in more than one. And he's going to have to get his flowers eventually. People are still planting their flag on that hill, but the winds are blowing hard, and those flags are going to come up eventually.
Yeah, that 3rd and 2 was a hell of a play. The Cardinals dropped 8 in coverage. Like Jonathan Gannon's probably ripping whatever hair he has on his head out because he can't figure out how the hell to defend Brock Purdy. He has like 7 or 8 men going up in the line, appearing like they're going to blitz, and then he drops 8. He dropped 8 into coverage, and Purdy's still able to scramble, step up, and lead Kittle to an open space of the field. Mike, tell me I'm wrong, but I'm watching that, and on that specific play, I see Mahomes-Kelsey. I see Kelsey going to an open part of the field. That's not his route, but he knows there's just that telepathic communication that this guy needs me to make a play. There's an open spot right behind me, and Purdy has enough of a touch on the ball to put it right where he needs it to be, and Kittle has to tip that in with one hand, and he does. Like, it was just a hell of a play. What did you see when you saw that?
No, these guys are definitely getting on the same page. And again, this goes back to the efficiency and, just being in sync. This is something that we haven't seen in a really, really long time as 49er fans. I'm telling you guys, no one wants to play us right now. There's not a single team. This is probably the best matchup that's coming up. And I still think that the Niners are going to go out there and win this game by double digits. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but there's no one that wants to play the Niners right now. Not a single team in the NFL. You got guys that have been notoriously haters of the 49ers and Mike Florio cursing on the Niners are going to beat the S out of people. Oh, we're 23 minutes. I could have said it, but I don't know if you guys saw that clip or not.
I did. As long as they're healthy, they're going to beat the shit out of whoever they're playing.
Yeah. Like even Florio, like again, he is purposely just screwed with the Niners fan base for years. I'm talking back in the Alden Smith days, like for years. And he's been doing it. He knows that the negativity gets clicks. At this point, he's like, fuck it, I can't hide anymore. Purdy doesn't need any more flowers. He's getting them all. He's in the MVP candidate thing. Per Vegas, he's the favorite. Doesn't mean that the voting is going to go that way or anything, but he's getting the flowers. People are finally realizing, hey guys, this kid's the real deal. And we just got to accept it. It's not a fluke. It wasn't a 8-game stretch where no one just knew who this kid was. It was just something that looked that way. We've seen quarterbacks come in for the 49ers for a short stint and they just look good. And then all of a sudden the league figures them out. There is no figuring it out right now. This is the 49ers offense. Kyle Shanahan has finally built his team the exact way that he wants the offense. And we're not turning the page. There is no stopping this train right now. This is a freight that's going faster than it should, and there's no way to stop it. There's no way to stop it. It's a beautiful thing. Kittle and Purdy being on the same page, just like you said, that telepathic communication. These guys are they're in sync. I said it on a show a couple of days ago. It's too many women living in the house and they all get synced together like that. That's where this team is right now. They have found who their alpha is and they are all lined up. And this is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I'm excited for the first time in years about a 49ers quarterback in the future going forward. I think the Niners have their guy for the next 10 years, man, at least 10 years. So it's beautiful.
Now I will say this. Yes, Florio's come around. There's some others that have come around. I would say the more intelligence you have, the quicker you've come around. But there are still a couple of less than stellar intellectual people out there on the internet who break down football and think they know this and this and that that are hanging on. Stephen Ruiz, Nick Wright, those type of people. They're still hanging on to that narrative. I think that anybody else is looking at it like, dang, if I keep on going with this, my credibility is going to suffer. Those guys didn't have credibility to start, so I don't think they care. But it's yes, he's in the MVP conversation, and now we're getting people who were big time Purdy doubters coming out and like, I believed in him all along, and this and this and that, and it's very much revisionist history. And it's just funny to when the train's leaving the station, how many people are trying to run and catch it at the last minute. But I'm glad that he's finally getting recognition. I'm glad that people understand, hey, this is like he's not just a system quarterback. He's not just a game manager, as it were. It's nice to see. And, again, I had somebody, I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, oh, CMC should be the MVP. He's obviously the most valuable player on the 49ers. And the way I'm looking at it is I'm like, listen, the case for CMC being the MVP was in 2019 when he went 1,000. You can't be more valuable to your team statistically than putting that up, which has only been done 3 times, right? That was the 3rd time. It was Marshall Faulk and then Roger Craig before him, but he didn't win MVP. Why? Because Carolina was 5-11. You can't sit here and tell me, as 49er fans who watch all the games, last year going into the NFC Championship game, you could say, all right, this is the team that we got. You can pick. Christian McCaffrey's going to have to leave due to injury in the first quarter or Brock Purdy. And I guarantee you, nobody is going to choose to keep CMC in the game over Brock Purdy because the fall off at that position is so much less than it is for quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are an outsized producer in the offense by virtue of them throwing to literally every other skill position, right? A running back, you can make catches, sure. And once you get the ball in your hands, you can make something happen. But no one in their right mind would tell you that they would rather rock with Christian McCaffrey in the game and Johnson as the quarterback, or Purdy in the game and either Jordan Mason or Elijah Mitchell or whoever it would have been, right? Nobody would have taken that. We would have all said, keep Brock Purdy in there. And I guarantee you, even if the 49ers lost, it wouldn't have been 34-7 or whatever it was.
Yep. I posted this on X earlier this week because might have been last night, actually. It's so funny how quickly people, they're trying to revision history, reimagine what actually happened and rewrite it. But it's like Kyle and Mike Shanahan were known for taking late-round picks and undrafted free agent running backs and turning them into superstars. I mean, it was like literally what they did. And if you look at Kyle's track record up until last season, he did it. Matt Breida, Jeff Wilson, Tevin Coleman was kind of a
carryover from his Falcons days.
Thank you. But
Elijah Mitchell. I
mean, like there are Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert was on how many teams before he got to the 49ers? And Kyle saw him.
Yeah, and still good in a 49ers offense.
Exactly.
A 49ers protege, right, in Mike McDaniel.
So if they want to say Purdy is a system quarterback, the same argument, in my opinion, would apply to Christian McCaffrey, if not even more, because the system for a running back is literally what opens up for you. Whereas a quarterback, you're making the plays, you're throwing the ball. As a running back, you're a lot more dependent on your teammates opening up holes, covering blocks, blocking downfield. And I'm not taking anything away from Christian because this is clearly the best running back Kyle's had since he's been here, probably ever. But it's just a weird try. Like I keep saying, like Purdy can't be MVP. He's not even an MVP of his own team. And it's like, it's been like everybody knows the MVP is a quarterback award. The best quarterback on the best team usually wins it. There's only 1 or 2 cases where they didn't. And I've seen people say like, well, Adrian Peterson won the award and he had a great running. He was the last running back to win it. He carried Christian Ponder to the playoffs and ran for 2,000 yards after blowing out his knee. Like there's context that goes into these decisions in the past, people. And people want to say, well, it's a down year for quarterbacks. Okay. What does that mean? You want to say Purdy shouldn't get it because Joe Burrow's hurt? Are we not having an award at all because Joe Burrow got hurt, Aaron Rodgers got hurt? Like somebody needs to win it. And you go by who's playing the best and and there's a very good chance Purdy's outplaying them as it is, even if they are healthy, because he's playing that high of a level. If you want look at any of the charts, Purdy's about here and everybody else starts down here. Like there's like an 1.5 inch gap on your screen of where he is compared to everybody else. And it really is just the fact that he's not 6'5", doesn't have a rocket arm, and he makes it look easy. I really do think that works against him. When he's out there on the field, slinging the rock, he makes it look easy. He never looks stressed. He never looks like he's really outworking himself to really try and get it done. And I think people use that against him, which is a shame because the kid's worked as hard as anybody. I mean, he just came back from an torn elbow. He could very well be the comeback. If DeMar Hamlin didn't die on the field a few months ago, Brock Purdy's comeback player of the year and MVP. Like that, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, that DeMar Hamlin award. I think DeMar Hamlin's been active for like one game too, but
a couple snaps.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Remember during that 3-game losing streak where everybody was critical of Brock Purdy?
Yes.
Right? Oh man, he didn't play well in those 3 losses. He didn't do that well. They were missing Deebo Samuel, and that just was too much for him. Who else didn't play well during that stretch? Oh, Christian McCaffrey, because Trent Williams was out. And that's what I think, Zach, you've hit the nail on the head in that Christian McCaffrey definitely, having a phenomenal season, right? People nowadays talking, oh, he's the best back in the NFL. I remember when he was in Carolina, he was always mentioned like top 5, top 3, but was he ever like unquestionably the best running back in the NFL? I don't remember it. But I'll tell you what, Trent Williams getting out and blocking for you, sometimes those lanes are highway wide, right, that he's running through. So I'm just going to put it out there that if you're going to criticize Brock Purdy for, not doing as well without Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel, go ahead and look at the, 11 carries for 43 yards against the Browns. Go ahead and look at the 15 carries for 45 yards against the Vikings without Trent Williams. And you tell me that Christian McCaffrey didn't also suffer from the lack of Trent Williams, that Christian McCaffrey also doesn't benefit from Deebo Samuel. You can't tell me that listen, you can't punish players for playing with good players. All of the best teams are going to do that. And playing with bad players and yet still being a statistical standout is not going to win you MVP. Just ask Christian McCaffrey. He knows from 2019 when his 2,000 yards, his 1,000 couldn't get the Panthers a winning record, let alone into the playoffs. 5-11 with a 1,000 yard player. To me, that just listen. Christian McCaffrey might be. I mean, he's not. I think Trent Williams is the best player on the 49ers, irregardless of position. Right? Like who position taken out of it, Trent Williams is the best. Even if you want to say Christian McCaffrey is the best skill position player, most talented, whatever, that's fine. But the most valuable player to the 49ers, bar none, is Brock Purdy. Because without him, we saw what happened against Philadelphia. That's the case to be made for MVP for him. And besides the fact that he's having, he's projected to finish with like 4,700 yards and like 36 touchdowns. That's not good enough for MVP. That's going to break 49ers records.
Yeah. And, that comment that was just up there by Hung Fat right before this one there. Yeah. Carried by his teammates. Crazy because all their stats have been elevated. The 49ers are about to have 4,000-yard skill positions. It is insane what this offense is doing right now. Like I kept saying, I can't wait to see the 49ers and Kyle get this Falcons offense. This is better than the version of what the Falcons were doing in that 2016 year or 2007, whatever year it was that Kyle was there before we got him. This is better than the MVP year that Matt Ryan had with Kyle. But I do have a question for you guys. You're talking a lot about Christian McCaffrey and his value here. And Zach, I know you talked about how they were known for just taking lower tier running backs. Do you guys think that this changes the draft philosophy for the 49ers when it comes to running back post Christian McCaffrey, which might be years away? Let me be very clear what I'm saying. But Kyle finally gets a first-round talented running back, and look at what he's doing and how the offense is so fluid and so efficient. Does that change the way that they look at these guys? Yeah, we traded for one, right? But what if we didn't have to trade and acquire one? What if we started drafting them higher? Everyone's like, oh, don't waste any more third-round picks. They're looking at Trey Sermon. They're looking at Joe Williams and all these other early running backs that were picked. But what if we got one of those guys in the first or second round and brought them up in the system to see what they can get? Because that's where the talent, that's where the raw talent is. Now you teach them in the system. Kyle's got the most talented running back in the NFL, and look at what his offense is doing. I just think that it might maybe change the way that they value running backs in the draft. What do you guys think about that?
Matt?
I think that it will change the value of the type of player. I don't necessarily disagree that they could draft a little bit higher. I don't think they're going to pick a first round running back if that's what you're insinuating. I just don't think that's on the table. I think second round is probably on the table somewhere. But I think when you go back and you look at, Joe Williams, who had kind of a commitment problem, but, the style of player that he was, the style of player that Trey Sermon was, the style of player that, any number of other running backs, TDP, even Elijah Mitchell. The one thing that they are primarily and almost exclusively is runners, right? What Christian McCaffrey actually gives Kyle Shanahan is the ability to motion him out, right? When Christian McCaffrey wasn't here after 2021, the first part of 2022, and we tried to use Deebo Samuel in the way that he was used in 2021, the league caught on because nobody cares about what Elijah Mitchell is going to do if you try to motion him out. Elijah Mitchell was not a pass-catching back. Jordan Mason is not a pass-catching back necessarily. What Christian McCaffrey gives you is a true dual threat. You can find guys like that in the third round, guys like an Alvin Kamara, somebody like that, right? It's what Jerick McKinnon was supposed to be before he got injured, and we just didn't have that. And Jerick McKinnon was not a first-round guy either. You can find those guys. I think it'll shift what they actually value at the running back position rather than these like north-south between the tackles runners. You can get a guy like Christian McCaffrey, who's not the biggest dude in the world, but who will run between the tackles and then also gives you the versatility of being able to break it out wide or being able to be motioned out as almost like a wide out. You can utilize Deebo Samuel's special talents, and then the defense doesn't know what you're doing because you can pass it or you can throw it. It's pretty evident when Elijah Mitchell gets in the game that they're probably going to run the ball or he's just going to be a blocker.
I think it would change the kind of their draft strategy. Obviously, like you said, Mike, not anytime soon. But clearly these mid-round backs weren't working. And I still am under the belief that if Elijah Mitchell doesn't get hurt, Christian McCaffrey isn't a 49er. Like they only traded for him because Elijah Mitchell couldn't stay on the field after finishing 20-something yards short of 1,000 yards his rookie year. He only played a handful of games the following season. And I think that Kyle was just fed up and he's like, I need something sure. Now it's funny because the narrative around Christian McCaffrey at the time was kind of like he's washed up, injured, misses a ton of games, and he's been fabulous for the 49ers. But I just think it kind of causes Kyle to reconsider finding gems in the bargain bin, so to speak, with all due respect. It's like going through the clearance bin trying to find a Gucci jacket at Goodwill or something. It's like, just go buy it. You have the cash, just go buy it brand new, dude. So I don't know. Hopefully.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they look for guys along the Darren Sproles type, the scat back guys who are quick and good pass catchers, maybe not the best blockers, right? I don't care to see Christian McCaffrey out there blocking and doing blitz pickups and all that stuff, but let him run routes, let him do those things. I think that is going to change the type of guys that they look for because Elijah Mitchell was not that. He was probably the closest that they drafted, but he's not that. TDP was not that. Trey Sermon was not that. I do think that it changes the type of players that they look for. Now, when they get them, I don't know, but because running backs have been devalued, so it's not fair to put a round on it. I think you get one or two running backs in the first round, and they're usually towards the end anyway, which is where the Niners are going to be drafting for the foreseeable future. So we'll see how it plays out.
I got two things. I saw a comment on the preview show right after Matt and I wrapped up that we missed a super chat from Gray Fox 198. Gray Fox, if you're in here, I still didn't see it, so I apologize, but resend it as a normal chat. We'll definitely read it. And two, did you guys see that first touchdown? Mike, I was thinking of you. I was thinking of both of you guys with Deebo Samuel's half-assing that route, and it played to his advantage. And I hear your guys' voices. I hear JT O'Sullivan's voice, and I'm like, oh, my God, Kyle is a troll. This man is a troll. He hears everybody criticizing his wide receiver for half-assing routes if he knows he's not getting the ball. So he game plans around that. He game plans around the opposing team expecting that. And first play in the red zone, Deebo Samuel half-asses, as if he's going to get a handoff going across. He doesn't, and that's why he was wide open. I mean, what did you guys think when you saw that, Mike?
If it's the touchdown play that you're talking about, is that the one? Yeah. So everybody said that wasn't the read. So he was still half-assing it, but the one thing that I took away from it is it went back to what Brandon Ayuk said weeks ago, where we would run plays in practice that never came my way, but in the real game, Brock saw that I beat coverage and he's going to throw it. You have to be ready at all times. I don't think that this necessarily, and I could be wrong, I don't think it was necessarily a Kyle like, aha, got you, tricked you guys. Maybe it was. I do think Kyle is that kind of a maniacal head coach and play caller. I do think that he has that in him. I don't think that particular play was it, because you saw Debo hit another gear to go out and catch that ball. It was like, oh shit, it's coming my way. Let me hurry up and get up there. Let me get under it. This is pause worthy. You guys pre-pause now.
Clip.
Yeah, I'm watching Debo run that route, and when the ball's in the air, he hits another gear so hard that you can see his butt jiggling as he's running. I've never seen the buttocks and the glutes not be tight before. It was all thighs and calf, and the butt was just going. It was just shaking all over the place. I mean, I was surprised I didn't see singles flying when that was playing, when that was happening. But I'm just saying. I don't think that one was Kyle's plan. However, I do think that it may be something that plays a part later on, because he saw that not only could they do it, it was successful at the same time. So let's go ahead and play to the cares and concerns of everybody out there talking.
Did you hear what Debo said afterwards?
No, I haven't gone through the pressures yet. I had a super late rewatch on Sunday. I didn't get to watch the game. I was with family, so I didn't get to watch it. I didn't watch the game until like Wednesday or something like that.
Got it. He said we did it in practice, and I didn't think it was going to be that wide open. But Kyle specifically put this play in, and when Kyle puts plays in, they work. So I think he was the read. I don't know. I didn't see anybody saying otherwise. Matt, what did you think when you saw that?
Yeah, no, I definitely thought that it was a Kyle troll job for sure. And, shout outs again to JT O'Sullivan, who always calls out that issue too. And he kind of questioned it. He was like, I don't know. Is that something, And one of the other things that he points out that I think that Kyle is baking up a troll on is the fact that, like, if you go and watch any of JT O'Sullivan's videos, he points out on a lot of these that Brock will turn down that flag route. He will turn down that deep flag to Brandon Ayuk, which typically tends to be open. And inside my head, after watching this, I'm like, dang, man, what if that flag route, he's saving that shit for the playoffs? He's telling Brock, like, hey, if anything else is open, throw that, all right? Make them think that the flag, like, when they go and watch tape, they're going to be like, he doesn't throw that shit. Don't worry about it that much. He's not going to throw it. And then the second that you think he's not going to throw it, boom, he hits you at a critical moment, and all of a sudden Kyle's cooking. That's where we've gotten with Kyle Shanahan's offense. There are charts out there from all the stat nerds and the number crunchers who, shout outs to you guys for delving that deep. Couldn't be me, but I don't have the patience for that type of stuff. I could barely get through my taxes. Like, that's the limit to my numbers. But that show that what Kyle is doing with this offense, what Brock Purdy has allowed him to do in terms of opening up his offense, what these skill positions, this collection of talent that he's had, he's killing teams. He is killing defenses out there. So it wouldn't surprise me if this was a direct, like, oh yeah, I hear what you guys are doing. You think, okay, watch this. Oh, it's the old Cam Newton quote, right? Oh, you guys watch film? Okay, watch this. Right. But it's actually something impressive. So, by the way, shout outs to Christian McCaffrey, who caught that touchdown pass too. So
yeah. All right. We got a super chat here from our guy Sean. Kyle's offense in Atlanta was fast, but not bruising. He built San Francisco with dogs. Debo is better than Jones was. His offense can pound it at you now. Maybe that was the convo Belichick had after the loss. Debo is better than Julio Jones. I don't know about that.
I don't think Debo Samuel in 2023 is a better wide receiver than Julio Jones was in 2016. Yeah. But I would say he's a more versatile player than Julio Jones.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
That's I think it's a difference. And maybe Kyle took something away if Belichick had a conversation, but he clearly didn't take away, hey, you should build up a really good offensive line, because our offensive line isn't that great outside of Trent Williams. And one of the key plays in that game that completed the ability for the Patriots to win that game was the sack on the second down play that took them out of field goal range. So I don't know, man. Like, I get it. I think that well before that loss to the Patriots, I think that ingrained in his DNA from his father is smash mouth football. That's been the Mike Shanahan way to do it. And so you get those players that are, we say it all the time, right? Elway was Elway. He was great. He was this, he was that. But until Terrell Davis was out there punching people in the mouth, running the ball down their throat, they didn't win any Super Bowls. And once they got that physical ability, once they got, the Mark Schleris of the world and the offensive line that just beat people up, that's when they started, making a lot of noise. You had John Lynch on that team, in that Super Bowl team. John Lynch known for flying around. Man, listen, DeMonte Casey gets suspended indefinitely or whatever. Dude, John Lynch would have been expelled from the league for some of the stuff he was doing. Let me tell you about physical. That dude was killing folk.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into this. By the way, Mike, I saw this comment here from Terrence. Wait till Breezy hears about this, about the butt cheeks jiggling tomorrow. No harm, no foul.
Sorry, I'm not going to mention it, and I'm going to bank on the fact that Breezy is asleep right now, and he's not going to know. So if you guys don't snitch,
clip it.
I won't have any problems.
Clip it. Tag Breezy.
Yeah, hey, don't dry snitch on the man. That's fucked up.
I promise you guys, if you go back,
I know what you're saying. He was in like too relaxed a state. He was just jogging on that deep touchdown pass. And then when he realized, oh shit, I better go. And that's when you see, that's when you see him move.
I promise you guys are going to notice it now. I promise you guys are going to
By the way, one last thing on this Cardinals game. There was one play where Kyler Murray ran for a first down. Mike, you did that little arm motion. That dude runs so funny to me because he's so small and his legs move so fast, dude. It's like a cartoon where the upper body is still, but the legs are blurred and they're moving. That's what he looked like. It was. I was like, damn, you guys for giving up a first down, but I kind of enjoyed watching that because that cracked me up.
I did want to say one more thing about the game. The 49ers defense, and I know a lot of it was attributed to the missed tackles. 7 of 16 on third down conversions doesn't sound like a lot, right? But it's almost 50%. And then the other thing was they were 3 of 4 on fourth down conversions. So they had pretty good conversion rates on, blank to go. We have to get better. We have to get better. I don't know if you guys want to highlight the specifics, but 234 rushing yards. I'm not saying that there's a blueprint to beat the Niners because they still lost significantly, right? But and the last touchdown was, in garbage time or against our backups. But those are things that when teams don't know how to beat a team, they're gonna highlight the deficiencies of the 49ers and try to capitalize on that. Teams are going to try to run the ball on us. I expect a heavy dose of running against us right now, and maybe not necessarily with Edwards or Hill, but maybe some, with Lamar Jackson and all that, and not being afraid to go for it on third or fourth and shorts. There's going to be, when these teams feel like they're going up against a superior opponent, they're going to say, hey, we got nothing to lose anyway. This is when you don't want to run into a Dan Campbell-led Lions team in the postseason because those are the teams that say, hey, guys, no one expects us to beat them anyway. Let's go out there and just fight every single down. And they're going to go for it a lot if we face a team like the Lions in the postseason. So those are the things that were very, very, very concerning. Penalties be damned. Like I said, there was only 5 in the whole game. Wipe that away. So where were my concerns? The missed tackles obviously being the top one, but the other one was just their conversion rate on third and fourth downs. It was just too high for me, too high for me to feel any level of comfort when teams are in the literally last play of the season type mode. You can't have that. You can't have that. There's not going to be a respect for, oh, you stopped us on 3rd and 7. We only got 5. That 4th and 2 is going to be very tempting for teams going forward. So we have to be mindful and cognizant of that going forward.
Agreed.
I agree with that. And to your point about Dan Campbell, that dude is a fuck around, find out master. That dude loves to just do things just to see if they work. I remember when the Lions weren't that good and he was still out there like YOLO, fourth and 16, fake punt. Who gives a shit? Right. And I think he still retains a lot of that. They're really a team that, like Mike said, I would be worried about. The Eagles and the Cowboys are known quantities. We know about them. Our last taste of the Detroit Lions was a bad Detroit Lions team that that caused Kyle Shanahan to reevaluate how he plays the end of games, because that team just did not go away. They were straight up like Terminator, right? They just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. And, it's like a Terminator with a water gun. They're not doing a lot of damage to you, but eventually, they just kind of wear you out. So definitely something to watch out for. But a lot of what the rushing stuff was with Lamar Jackson coming up and things like that, I'm going to touch on it in this Ravens preview if we want to hop over to that, unless you have any more thoughts, Zach.
No, that's it. All right. We got another super chat here from Sean. He said, Debo is going to hear about Mike's jiggling comment. It's going to be awkward getting that autograph, Mike, especially if you have to follow him. Just saying. Hashtag jiggling. Hashtag Debo buttocks.
Yeah, man. It's only going to get out if somebody clips it up. If y'all don't clip it and don't post it, then it's never going to see the light of day. So joke's on you guys.
All right, let's get into this 49ers Ravens Christmas night preview. By the way, I see a lot of people sharing that clip of Marlon Humphrey talking about how he doesn't respect any of the 49ers. It's clearly a joke. Like it's clear. I saw a longer clip of it, and he goes like, no, they do a lot of stuff that's like really difficult. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just the dude's humor. I've never seen the podcast before, but I think people were kind of taking it out of context and having that go around.
This is when I appreciate 49ers content creators. And I'm not just saying this because Wayne posted the little short. I don't know if other people posted it, right? But I saw Wayne just post a clip. Kruger retweeted it and said, oh, he doesn't respect Niners players. Best believe it's going to be locker room fodder, right? This is where I appreciate it. The Niners have to have some reason to turn up just a little bit more. Just a little bit more, right? I think they know that they're the favorites. I think that they know that, they're not expected to lose this game. The team traveling east all the way to the west. But there's so many things going into this game that are in the favor of the Ravens. Lamar Jackson being 19-1 against all NFC opponents all time. That is something that is huge. I thought they were going to lose last week. I stopped watching because I thought that game was over. And then the next morning I wake up, they won that game. Like what? Like they beat the Rams. So I think that we need to find some sort of small, listen, it takes 1 grain of rice to tip the scale, right? That's what I was told. It's an old Chinese proverb, right? Or if it's not really a proverb, then I sound super racist, but I was told that was a Chinese proverb. That's all it's going to take. Just give the Niners a little bit more motivation, because I promise you, if we come in here with our guards down, the game's going to be closer than what it should be. So I like that 49ers content creators are clipping things up and just getting the portion of it out there to, give them locker room material. That's what we need. That's what we want. Keep those guys hungry. Keep those guys with that beast activated inside, show the dog and say, hey, I bet you respect this now. Because he did not go back and say, I respect player X, I respect player Y, I respect player Z. I do think he was being sarcastic. I do think that he was joking with his comments. However, he did not list players that he does respect. So you take it for what it's worth. I say go out there and give it to him. Post that shit all over the locker room, put it on a loop, and let them hear it all game long, heading into the game.
It is a weird thing to joke about. Like, it's not like he said, I don't think any of them are good. I don't respect any of them. I don't respect a single one of them. It was a weird thing to joke about, but it is what it is. I don't care. But yeah, that shit took off. It took off. I think Cam BR was talking about it this morning here in the Bay Area and treating it as fact. It's like I'm a big Supernatural fan. And it's like in Supernatural when some like a ghost or some sort of creature starts as like a rumor online and then it actually turns into an actual thing because of people believing in it. Like that's exactly what happened here. Like this was not real, but so many people shared it that it basically became real. And Marlon Humphrey, he's a good player, but he's been kind of picked on previously. Kyle Hamilton, I think, is the best player of that Ravens defense, specifically of that secondary. Matt, and I'll start with you. How do you think the 49ers are going to try and attack the Ravens offensively?
I mean, I don't think the 49ers, with the offense that they have, I don't think that Kyle goes, oh, I'm going to pick on X player, I'm going to pick on Y player. I think that he's just like, my shit's going to work. Like, straight up, my stuff works. I'm not worried about a specific guy. I mean, for Christ's sake, he in the 2022 NFC Championship game, 2021, sorry, NFC Championship game, he had Jimmy Garoppolo throwing Jalen Ramsey's way. So he clearly doesn't give a shit. I expect them to attack how they attack everybody, right? Steady dose of getting the ball outside of the numbers and in the intermediate areas of the field, and then attack up the middle with Christian McCaffrey on the running game. I don't think that, the Ravens are a talented team. The Ravens are a talented defense, but the Ravens also give up points. It's not like they're, tops in scoring defense. There's definitely some leeway to be had, some points to be gained. And the 49ers, quite frankly, are a very explosive offense. I haven't seen the weather report, but it's California, so I don't expect the weather to be too much of a factor. And barring that, I think the 49ers are going to be able to run the offense the way that they have. So I expect this to be another game where the 49ers are flirting with, above 30 again, regardless of whether it's the Ravens or not. Because the last time we were told that, a defense was great and it was a home game and weather wasn't a factor, was against, the Cowboys, and we smoked the Cowboys. The only team that I saw that they truly, truly struggled with was the Cleveland Browns, but that was weather, East Coast game, guys missing, and the number one pass defense in the NFL. So I don't think Baltimore brings that. I think the 49ers will be just fine.
I think a lot of people, I don't want to say overestimate Baltimore's run defense, but I think the 49ers are going to have an easy time running the ball on Sunday. And I think Christian McCaffrey is going to eat. I think George Kittle will likely eat. I mean, they very well could have lost Sunday night to the Jaguars. The Jaguars left at least 17 points on the field, I want to say. Like, they were in position to score multiple times, and they ended up coming away with like 0 points each time. So I understand Baltimore is the number 1 seed in the AFC right now, but they're certainly gettable. I mean, they're not perfect. And even on the season, like they've lost 3 games, just like the 49ers, 6-1 away. Obviously, I know the biggest stat people want to talk about is Lamar Jackson has only lost 1 game to the NFC in his career, which was against Daniel Jones of all quarterbacks. But this is a different 49ers team, and I'm very confident in their ability. Offensively, they should be fully healthy. I know Juwan Jennings is dealing with a concussion, but other than that, I think they should be able to go and put up points in this game Monday night. Mike, defensively, Lamar Jackson, mobile quarterbacks have always given the 49ers fits. How worried are you about the 49ers' ability to contain him?
They've always given the 49er fits until this year. Guys, I think for whatever reason, I'm gonna give credit to him. I can't believe I'm gonna do this. I think Steve Wilks has found a way to show that, hey, these mobile quarterbacks cannot run against us. You look at what they did against Jalen Hurts. You look at what they did against Kyler Murray. I told you guys already, I think he is the best all around of the mobile quarterbacks. I think those days are behind us, guys. I think that he's content with saying, hey, if you're going to run the ball, you're going to run it up the middle. You're not going to get outside the pocket. You're not going to get outside the tackles and break us. And that's where the Niners were susceptible to these mobile guys before. And it starts with not over pursuing every single pass play. It starts with that little bit of hesitation. Eric Mangini did something like this when he was a defensive coordinator for the Niners, where it was a read and react thing, right? But his problem was he even did that shit on run plays. So by the time that the defensive line was able to react after reading, the running backs were past them, right? And so the running yards were just too much to overcome, and the Niners defense wasn't good enough. What the hell is Richard Sherman wearing? I'm sorry. So
he wore that when he was with the Niners, by the way.
That's terrible.
That Christmas suit.
Is that what he calls it? Is he
Yeah.
not doing a show on Christmas Day? Like he had to wear that tonight? This is insane. I'm sorry. But I think that the days of mobile quarterbacks giving 49er fits are behind us. You're going to have to find another way, much like the game plan for Jalen Hurts. Hey, we're not going to over pursue him. Let's dare him to beat us with his arm, because the fact is this, guys. Most of the quarterbacks that are a serious threat in the run game, like with them running the ball, aren't the prolific and proficient passers that other quarterbacks are. So let's just maintain, let's hold the line, and then see if they can beat us downfield. And if not, that's when you go out there and pursue them. Once we know they got a lockdown in the secondary, and this secondary has been playing lights out, I want to give all the credit to the secondary. I don't care if it's Demo, Ambry Thomas, Mooney Ward. Mooney Ward, I talk so much shit about the first couple of weeks of the season. I talked shit about him even up to 4 weeks ago, saying that Demo had surpassed him. And I called him the third best corner on this team. He goes on Eric Armstead's podcast and says, hey, once I get a turnover or two, they'll start respecting me. Guess what? He was right. I respect him now. Put him right back at CB1. Just like that. It didn't take much to sway me, right? Just like that. He's right back there. He's doing his thing. He's got the most PBUs in the entire NFL, not just on the 49ers. He's doing his thing. Once those guys get out there and lock down the secondary, now we're going to hold and maintain our edges. These guys have to find another way to beat us, and it's really, really hard for quarterbacks to beat us if they can't get to the outside. Because once you start going to the middle, that speed of the linebackers of the 49ers is going to minimize. I don't even know if that's a real word, but it's going to minimize what those guys can do on the ground. So shout out to those guys. I think that Steve Wilks has figured out the missing piece for this 49ers defense against those mobile and scrambling quarterbacks. Shout out to Steve Wilks.
Damn. All right. I like that a lot.
Yeah, hold on. I'm kind of with you, but I'm kind of not. And this is, I touched on earlier that I was going to, I had some things about the Cardinals game that I wanted to talk about that pertain to the Ravens game. I know you guys talked about Marlon Humphrey, that whole situation being, something about that, 49ers need motivation. I think they do, mainly from the fact that, one, it's a home game. Two, it's Christmas Day. So, these players are spending time with their kids and their family and stuff before they come into the stadium. But what type of distraction is that going to be? What type of motivator is that going to be? Is that they're going to come in feeling good because they got to, hang out with their family or whatever? Or is that going to be like, that was the distraction that caused, some type of flatness coming out? That's neither here nor there. The biggest thing for me with Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray last week averaged 8.2 yards per carry when he decided to run the ball. Okay. Trey McBride had 10 catches for 102 yards. That's somewhere where the Ravens have two, I would say, arguably more dynamic players in Lamar Jackson, who has now replaced Dak Prescott as apparently the MVP frontrunner. But and then you have Mark Andrews as well. Mike, you're talking about Mooney Ward. He did great against, he did great against DK Metcalf. Some of the other guys. Zay Flowers is the type of receiver that he's going to have more problems with. And I hope that they put Demo more on Zay Flowers, who's like a pure speed guy. I think that they should put Mooney Ward on Odell Beckham and let him mess with Odell Beckham all day. I think that would be a fun matchup. But you can't let Lamar Jackson, who is arguably faster and more dynamic than Kyler Murray on the run, get loose. And you can't allow Mark Jackson, who is a better tight end than Trey McBride, to get open and allow that security blanket for Lamar Jackson. Because if you can take away Mark Andrews and you can take away some of that run, Lamar Jackson will make mistakes throwing the ball.
Well,
that's plain and simple. He would do that. Yep.
So Mark Andrews is out. It's Isaiah Likely. That's the guy that we got to worry about.
Oh, is he out?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Disregard.
What
happened to Mark Andrews?
He's been out for a couple of weeks now.
Snapped his ankle against Cincy.
Yeah, it's been a while. But I will say this to your point. Isaiah Likely is way more athletic and physically gifted than Mark Andrews ever was.
He's good.
Ever was. This
Yeah,
guy,
so,
Isaiah
okay.
Likely, is a monster. He's going to be a problem for years to come in the NFL.
So then I worry about, because Trey McBride was more athletic than I thought he was going to be too. Trey McBride was pretty much a beast. But I worry about, we talked earlier about Fred Warner missing tackles and, things like that. Fred Warner, to me, in a straight up 1v1 situation where Fred is squared up, does not miss a lot of tackles. Where Fred misses tackles is because he's a sideline to sideline guy. And like you said, he likes to do the punch for the football or whatever. But a lot of times he's coming at guys from an angle that's not necessarily conducive to making a tackle. Those areas of the field are where the 49ers have gotten in trouble. Mark Andrews are not. Pardon me for not. I haven't really paid attention to the Ravens, to be honest. They've played a lot when the 49ers are playing, and I just don't care. But I think that there's mistakes to be taken advantage of if they can take away those security blankets. I think that, not having their rookie running back, Keaton Mitchell, I think that kind of hurts some of their dynamic ability. Like you talked about Hill and you talked about Edwards. Those guys are nice runners, but I thought Mitchell gave them more of a dynamic, athletic, outside of the box type guy, a la, to a lesser extent, obviously a Christian McCaffrey or whatever, that would allow a lot more spreading of the defense. So instead of getting those guys that swarm like the 49ers like to do, now you're getting one-on-one in space, and that's where the 49ers have had trouble with missed tackles. They have to keep Lamar Jackson bottled up, though, and they cannot allow him to extend plays and make plays because the coverage will eventually break down. That's just the nature of football. Those are where my worries are for the 49ers defense in particular. But unlike years past, the bright side, the silver lining for that is that this 49ers offense is so explosive that it kind of can hide bad games from the defense.
Yeah. That's what's so encouraging about this is even if the defense struggles, even if they give up 29 points, the 49ers are not only winning, but they're still winning by 3 scores, 2 scores if you're getting back to 2-point conversions. So it's very comforting to know they play complementary football, and it's not so dependent on one side showing up 100% of the time. Mike, sorry, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say we definitely dodged a bullet with Mitchell going out for them. But you have Edwards, who's the more physical guy. He's going to be the short yardage guy when 3rd and 1s type like that. But Hill is no slouch. He's their return guy. He ran a 4.4. And not for nothing, I think he plays faster. This is gonna sound, tongue in cheek, but I think he plays faster than 4.42, which is what he ran at the combine. But I think the Niners are going to have a really, really good plan in place to slow someone like him down. I just don't think they have enough weapons. I really, really don't. I think that if we force them into certain situations, a 3rd and 8, Mitchell isn't going to be a factor, right? It's going to be Lamar Jackson or Isaiah Likely. I am not of the belief that OBJ is who he used to be. He might be a possession guy. Maybe he's definitely not. He's a shell of himself. I'm not worried about the young Zay Flowers, and kudos and shout out to him, right? But I think he's also a one-trick pony. And not to say that that's who he's going to be throughout the duration of his career. He's going to get better with time, but time isn't now. Now is very different than with time. I think the Niners are just going to overmatch these guys. I had this game originally looking at it as a loss when I did the season prediction. And even up to a week ago, I said that the Niners were going to – I never said who was going to win or lose this game, but I had a 27-23. The more I look at this under a fine microscope, fine-tooth comb, I think the Niners win this game by double digits also, guys. I really, really do. I just don't think that there's anything that the Ravens can bring to the table that's going to outscore the Niners. Let me be clear. They're going to get points. But I don't think the Ravens defense possesses enough of discipline. That's the word I'm going to use. I don't think the Ravens defense has enough discipline to stop this 49ers offense. And discipline is going to be needed, and it comes with guys who are veterans. They have a very, very young defense. Someone mentioned Kyle Hamilton earlier, who I think is probably one of their better players on the defensive side of the ball. He's young. He's inexperienced. And we have seen what Kyle Shanahan likes to do to young, inexperienced players. He makes them commit to something. And once you commit, whatever you do, you have two options on this play that I'm going to run. You go left, I'm going to throw right. You go right, I'm going to go left. That's what Kyle Shanahan does. And he frustrates young players. That's what Kyle Shanahan is a novice at. And so I think that's going to play a big part into it. We have to keep in mind that Greg Roman is now gone on the offensive side of the ball. They still have some of his running concepts implemented into it. And, as a former Niner guy, we know that Greg Roman's running concepts were second to none. They still use some of that. They have a new defensive coordinator. I think this is his second year there, and he has improved that Ravens defense. But he's also going to say, "Hey, damn it, guys, look, this is Kyle Shanahan. This isn't just some Joe Schmo." You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going up against the cream of the crop. This is the top guy in the NFL. It's him and Andy Reid. Those are the two offensive minds in the NFL right now that are getting the most respect. And even Andy Reid's respect is coming down a notch, while Kyle is continuing to ascend in the rankings of offensive minds in the NFL. All of a sudden, people are saying, damn, I know we really respected Andy Reid, but perhaps, just maybe, there was a little bit of juice in the guy that went over to Washington. Maybe, just maybe, he was a bigger piece than what we thought in the offensive schemes over there in Kansas City. This is going to be something that they have never seen before. So win or lose, though, I don't think that this is a major game for the 49ers. And that's what I want to ask you guys about the value in this game here. If we lose this game, the Niners still are in first place. Even if all the teams that have 10 wins win, the Niners are still in first place if we lose this game, because they own all of the tiebreakers, whether it be head-to-head matchup or conference games. The Niners own all the tiebreakers for the three teams that have 10 wins. My big takeaway is that the Niners learn from this game, win or lose. If we struggle in an aspect, I would like to know that, hey, this is what we struggled against, and if we see them again, it'll be in the Super Bowl, and we took something away from it. I just don't see a way that the Ravens can beat the 49ers. I really, really don't. I think that 5.5 point line that's out there right now, that's just bettors making that line the way it is. If I had it my way, I would put the Niners at 7.5 points. That's where the line really should be. But I don't make the line, so we'll see what happens.
I think, yeah, we didn't talk about that, but this is a huge Monday night. Eagles absolutely fumbled the bag, and the Seahawks ended up winning that game, giving the 49ers a 1-game lead over, all of the other 10-4 teams. So this game not only doesn't mean much that way, but it also doesn't mean much because this is an AFC opponent. And I crack up when I think about it, because the Eagles spent so much energy and time and preparation going through their gauntlet, winning against Miami, KC, Buffalo, but then they proceeded to drop to San Francisco, Dallas, and Seattle, like the NFC teams that actually count and weigh a lot more in terms of standing. So it doesn't matter that much, but I do think it matters in terms of how good are we? We've seen them go up against good teams, and yes, they've absolutely had their way with them when they have all their pieces. But this is a team that they don't see often, and that has a different style of ball. They're often compared against each other as both physical bully balls. So I would love to see them come up against this Baltimore Ravens team and either go toe-to-toe or fucking blow them out, So,
and it's funny because I think if you ask Eagles fans, if you look at the 6-game stretch, right, you got Seattle, you got San Francisco, and what was the other NFC team? Dallas, and then you got Miami, and you got Buffalo, and KC. I think if they had to choose which 3 they wanted to win, it would be the NFC ones.
Yeah,
it would definitely be the NFC ones, and it just so happens that the NFC ones are the ones that they lost, and that hurts them so much when it comes to seeding. I can't overstate this enough. Those 3 games that they decided, not that they decided to win, right? Like, you want to win them all. But those 3 games out of the 6-game stretch, they won all the wrong ones. And I think to them, it was like, hey, can we beat this team that we might see in the Super Bowl? So I understand them turning up and getting ready for it. But this is a different monster over here. This is a different beast. And now they are stuck with dealing with the ramifications of it. And let me tell you guys, I work in the area. I live in the area. Philly fans are shitting themselves right now. They have no – I talk to Philly fans, and there's 2 ends of the spectrum, and that's where everybody is. There's nobody in between. We're going to lose the rest of the games for the rest of the season, or we can flip a switch. We're doing this for seeding. We don't want to play certain teams, and we're doing this on purpose, and we want to win out. Because right now, I think they're scheduled to play, hear me out, the winner of the NFC South. And they want to take that momentum into the postseason. That's what they're telling me. We want to take the momentum of getting to the postseason. We're already there. And then we're going to play the NFC South, and then we'll get that win, and that's going to propel us throughout the playoffs. Yeah. That's what they're telling me. They're telling me this with straight faces and dead serious, like, no, we did this on purpose. We already know we can beat the NFC team, the AFC teams. We're not worried about them. We'll play them when we get to them, but we want to take the momentum of the playoffs with us. That's what they're trying to convince me of. And I'm sitting here like, dude, you're full of shit. Yeah. You're full of shit. Like that's wishful thinking if I've ever heard it.
Just to pat myself on the back real quick, Matt, then I'll toss it to you. And then we're gonna start wrapping up here. But on the show I do with Christian Honeypot, where we do bets for the week, which we'll be recording a new episode tomorrow night. I ended the show saying the Eagles are gonna lose to Seattle in heartbreaking fashion. And the headlines Tuesday morning are going to be about the wheels falling off, people questioning Sirianni. But it's even worse than that. We got Jalen Hurts coming out questioning the commitment of his teammates publicly. Go check it out. Go watch Honeypot. Check out the last 5 minutes of the show. And that was my take. And hey, sometimes I'm right. I'm not always wrong, guys. Sometimes I'm right. Thank you, Mike. Matt, Mike's question, going back to it. How important is this game for the 49ers, weight-wise against the Ravens?
I think it's important just because you want to beat a good team, right? You want to prove yourself against the best. That way, if it ends the way that we want it, and I posted this earlier, they showed Patrick Mahomes got his O-line, a bunch of go-karts or whatever, and somebody was like, boy, I wonder what Brock Purdy's going to get his team, on his salary. And I was like, he's going to go get him some diamond-encrusted rings. That's what he's going to go get him.
That's right.
So, I like that. Let's go.
If we end up finishing where we need to be, I want it to be because when they look back at this season, Dallas, check. Philly, check. Baltimore, check. Right? You have a little blip on the radar. You have a little lull in October, which Kyle Shanahan teams typically tend to do. But then beyond that, they go on another run. And it just goes to show that they could beat different types of teams. Philly is a different type of team, a style of team than Dallas is. Dallas is a different style of team than the Ravens are. When you can go against all comers in all styles and still come out on top, you can cement yourself as being talked about as one of the best teams of all time. And that's what I want for this 49ers team. We've been flirting so closely with greatness that when they finally do get over the top, I don't want anybody to be able to come back and make any excuses. I want all the people that have hated on this team, that have hated on Brock Purdy, that have hated on, Kyle Shanahan, all of that. I want them to look back on this season and have to be sitting there eating that plate of humble pie because Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers beat all of the best teams in the league to get to where they were going, which is hopefully ring number 6.
All right. I love it. With that, we're going to start getting into our MVP predictions, final score predictions. Mike, Jeff, and Dad?
No, I like what Matt said, man. We're going to Tiffany's, baby.
That's right.
We're going to Tiffany's. We're trying to get the trophy. We're going to get the rings. Tiffany's, here the 49ers come, man. I like that. That's more important than everything else. I like it. That's what Brock is gifting his players. I like that, Matt. Well said, man.
All right. MVP predictions. Drop them in the chat. For me, let's start with offense. Offensive MVP predictions. Deebo Samuel. Last time 49ers played the Ravens in 2019 Ravens, I just have that clip of him on fourth down where Jimmy just chalking up that ball and Deebo going and grabbing it out of the air. I believe on Marlon Humphrey, actually, for the score. I'm going to say Deebo Samuel, 3 more touchdowns total, whether you want to say rushing through the air, however you want to divvy those up. 130 total yards. Deebo Samuel has a game. Matt, who do you got on offense?
To me, this is the game. This is the game that wins Brock Purdy the MVP. Brock Purdy is going to come out, and he's going to continue to do what he does. The Ravens are ranked 8th against the pass this season. But when you look at some of the people that they faced, because we know national media doesn't actually watch games, they just look at stats. They've played Dorian Thompson-Robinson. They've played Joe Burrow injured twice. They have played Kenny Pickett. Look at their division. Their division is bereft of any good quarterbacks. The one division game I believe they lost was to they lost to Kenny Pickett and the Steelers.
And
17-10.
Joe Flacco.
They lost to Joe Flacco. They lost to
Right.
Deshaun Watson.
Sorry,
So
I think it was Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, it was Deshaun Watson. But you're looking at a team that has had the benefit of playing against really bad quarterbacks. Go through their schedule this year. They have not played the who's who of quarterbacks. They just simply haven't. So to me, Brock Purdy will be able to get out there. I'm going to predict 275 yards and another 3 touchdowns with no interceptions for Brock Purdy this week.
That's right.
And by the way, 1 deep ball touchdown that goes at least 35 air yards.
By the way, Mike, before you go, I just want to say, isn't it hilarious how every week there's a newcomer for second in MVP odds? Like first it was Hurts, and then he fell off, and then it was Dak, and then he fell off, and it's just like out of nowhere Lamar emerges, and it's like, I've been kind of watching Lamar all year, and he hasn't been that, you know.
And here's the craziest part: it's right before we play them.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah,
you set them up, we'll knock them down. I bowl in a league, and that's exactly how it works. You set them up, and I'll knock them down. That's how it works. So you guys want to set the pins up? I'm going to come out here with the most beautiful curve that you've ever seen in your entire life. Hit that shit right in the pocket, and I'm going to knock it out here. Here comes another strike, and that's exactly what the Niners are going to do. I think that's a great call by Matt, but I am not going to agree with you. I'm going to go with the guy who I least expected to be a pivotal factor in this game, and George Kittle. I think this guy Patrick Queen is going to be a problem, but not in the passing game. Not in the passing game. I think Kyle is going to lock this guy down, make him hesitate, get some flat feet out there on the field, and then say, oh my God, which way do I have to go? George Kittle is going to be my offensive MVP. He might not lead the team in receptions or yards, but George Kittle is going to finish this game with 2 touchdowns because that's what George Kittle does. He is clutch. He is Brock Purdy's guy. We talked about their periods being in sync, and it's going to continue. I talked about jiggling butts. Here I am back with periods in sync. George Kittle, Brock Purdy are going to link up for 2 touchdowns. And if the Niners win by 2 scores, I'm going to credit that win to George Kittle.
Okay, all right. Let's do it, baby. All right, defense.
Now, wait, real quick. Mike, you're not worried about Roquan Smith?
Not at all. His job should be to stop Christian McCaffrey in the run game. I'm not expecting Roquan to drop back in coverage or anything like that. The problem that I have is this guy Queen hits hard. He is a hard hitting. He's our version of Dre Greenlaw, but maybe a better tackler, right? But when you have to worry about a guy like George Kittle coming across your face, it's going to make your angles worse. Yeah, Paul, sorry. It's going to make your angles be a lot worse. And so I think that George Kittle is just going to put this guy in a vice grip, and I think George Kittle is going to have his way with him. It's not going to be a lot. I think George Kittle ends up finishing the game with like 7 targets, 5 receptions, 74 yards, but 2 touchdowns. But the plays that Kittle will make in this game, all of them are going to count. You guys talk about 3rd and Juwan. Look out for Kittle to be the chain mover in this game.
Yeah. And by the way, Mike, to your point about, and Zach, your point about all these secondary MVP candidates coming up and they playing the 49ers right before they fall off. Ravens fans, breathe a sigh of relief, because before it was the second place runner-up as the MVP conversation overtaking Brock Purdy, all of a sudden it was season-ending quarterback injuries. So
That's right.
thank your lucky stars that we've kind of transitioned over to just shutting down MVP candidates.
All right, defensive MVP predictions. I'm going to go with, you know what? I'm going to go with Mooney Ward. I think he continues his amazing performances out there, showcasing his abilities. I mean, this is a stretch going back to Thanksgiving. He's played lockdown ball for basically a month. He locked down DK the following week, locked down, AJ Brown, whoever the hell he was up against, and then did it again. Even though he kind of left with that groin injury, but then last week, I mean, we saw him come off that performance, and he just had a pick 6 to start the game, another pick to end the game. I'm going to go Mooney Ward. Whoever he's up against is going to have a hell of a time having a game, whether that's Zay Flowers, OBJ, probably Flowers, but I'm going to say he limits his coverage man to, 50 yards max, and I'm going to say he gets a pick.
Do you know how many receptions he was credited for against him last week?
How many?
0. You would have had a better game just throwing the ball in the dirt than targeting whoever was covered by Mooney Ward last week.
Yeah.
So I love that pick by you, Zach. I'm going to shut up. You can give it to Matt, but I just wanted to pile on what you were saying.
Thank you.
That was a phenomenal pick. Not a single reception allowed last week. 2 picks, one of them for a score. Beautiful pick. That was a beautiful pick, man.
Yeah. Matt, who do you got?
I'm going to go with Dre Greenlaw. I think that he's going to set a very physical tempo. He's going to make Lamar Jackson think twice about trying to fight for that extra yard. He's going to make Lamar Jackson get down. He's going to bring the intensity like he always does. He's a couple weeks removed from that fiasco with Dom. I will not be back on the sidelines for the entire regular season, fat fuck. And he's going to come back with a vengeance. I think Dre Greenlaw, 8 tackles, 3 quarterback hits, and a 15-yard penalty. So, Dre Greenlaw.
All right, Mike.
By the way, shout out to you guys. I went full screen and I noticed the little festive decorations you put on the
thank you
on the red and gold up there in the corner and down there at the bottom. That is phenomenal. Oh, and the one right there. Shout out to the Christmas tree right there. Yeah. Oh, come on, man. No, that's the tree right there. There's a hat on here somewhere.
On the MyBookie logo.
Santa hat on the MyBookie.
Top left.
Oh, so on my screen is covered by the live 1 hour and 29 minute. So I don't see it. But yeah, that shout out to you guys for doing that. That is phenomenal. That's A+. Listen, this is my first time saying this guy's name as a defensive MVP. No one's going to ever name this guy because Nick Bosa's on the other side of him. But Chase Young is going to be the man on defense. 3 sacks in this game. He's going to get to double digits. He's going to say, hey, Nick Bosa, I'm trying to catch you. These guys like meeting at the quarterback. He's going to get 3 sacks. Now, I'll admit this. 2 of them are going to be on broken plays, scrambles that are going to be tackles behind the line of scrimmage of Jackson. But one of them is going to be a real sack. But here's where he makes the difference. Lamar Jackson has 11 or 12 fumbles this season. He's going to scoop one of those bad boys up. He's not going to get in the end zone, but he's going to get damn close. And then we're going to score on the very next play. So I'm going to say Chase Young is going to be my defensive MVP for playing his role right. He's going to play contained perfectly. He's good in the run game. He's good in the pass game. And he wants to show Nick Bosa, hey, we both played for Ohio State, but I'm the future of the 49ers defense. I don't believe that, but I want him to believe that he believes that. So Chase Young is going to be my defensive MVP for the 49ers this week.
Okay. All right.
Now, Mike, I'm going to let you finish. But not for nothing. I think I picked Chase Young last week.
I don't know if I was here last week for
You weren't.
Okay. You
did
pick him last week?
But with all 3 of us, you're the first, I think.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I apologize. Damn it. I thought I was dropping some exclusive shit over here, man. I thought I was really bringing it right now because normally Nick Bosa's your guy.
Yeah, but he got the 3 sacks and a forced fumble. He got 3 half sacks, and I was like, that's enough, bro. I'm counting that. That's
Yeah.
That was enough. And the forced
My
fumble. So
bad.
I've moved on the last
I
few
tell you
weeks.
this. How about this? He's going to drop back in coverage and have a PBU. I'll sprinkle that in to the Chase Young bag and repertoire. How do you like that?
Now that is chopping up something new.
Let's go.
All right. Final score predictions. And if you comment yours in the chat and you get them right, we'll send you some free merch. I'm going to go first. And I'm going to go 49ers take this one 28-17. Maybe not as high scoring as we've seen. This is the second ranked defense. We saw the 49ers go up against the first ranked defense in the Cleveland Browns. And yes, weather, injuries, but they also just did not look good. Maybe that happens Monday night, but I still think they put up 4 scores and get the job done. And they cover. They're favored by 5.5 points. Matt, who do you got?
Listen, the 49ers have pretty much answered the bell in every aspect this season. There's one thing that they have yet to do, and I think they get it done this week. I'm a little more concerned than the rest of you guys are. I think it's going to be a really close game, but I think that Brock Purdy leads the 49ers in a 2-minute drill in the fourth quarter, and the 49ers get a game-winning walk-off touchdown. It's going to be 28-27 49ers.
Damn, what a Christmas present. All right, Mike, what do you got?
You guys want final score, right?
Yep.
I'm going to go 29-13. 29-13. 49ers go out there and get this dub. I expect the Ravens to score on their second drive, not their first drive. I do expect them to score on their second drive, but then that's going to be it. And then it's going to be a long, excruciating, painful game for those guys. I think that our kicker, Jake Moody, wants to challenge Justin Tucker in this upcoming game. And he's going to say, hey, I had a better game than Justin Tucker when it's all said and done. So I'm going to give some points to my kicker and Jake Moody. But 29 to, what did I say, 13?
13.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. There you go.
Okay. All right. And we're going to end the show, as always, with a chat pack.
After paying the bills.
Yes, we will be right back after a message from the sponsor. Just want to take a second to thank today's sponsor, MyBookie. As a bettor, you demand perfection, and MyBookie delivers. NFL, college football, and a brand new cash out system gives you options to bet and win all season long. The first 2 legs of your parlay hit, cash out early and use the funds on another bet. Or you could let it ride for the chance of a bigger payday. Join the MyBookie family for a season filled with odds boosts, free bets, and super contests. To get started, all you got to do is super simple. Go to mybookie.ag right now and register for an account for free. That's right, it's free. And whenever it is you're ready to make your first deposit, just use promo code HIVE. It's right here on the screen, HIVE, to grab a welcome bonus on the house. That's our gift to you for being a part of the 49ers Hive family. That's promo code HIVE, HIVE, to claim your deposit bonus. And for a limited time, you also get a free chip to use in the MyBookie casino. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Now let's get back to the show. All right, guys, mybookie.ag, promo code HIVE. Take advantage right now before the end of the season. All right, this chat pack, in chat, please feel free to answer yours as well. If you could stand at the pinnacle of any natural object or man-made structure, what would it be? We kind of did a similar one with the wonders of the world, but any man-made structure.
Yeah.
I'll go first because mine was a man-made structure, and that was the hand in Rio, the Christ statue.
I was going to say the same shit. Christ the Redeemer.
Yeah, Christ. Yeah, I would love to sit in the palm of Christ and just, be up there. So that's why I wanted to go first to get it out the way. I'm mad that Matt said he wanted to say it also. Matt, if you're going to stick with that, I'll find another one.
No. I'll think of another one. I just think that when you look, it's not necessarily the statue for me as much as it is the view around it. is incredible. Is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's stunning.
I'll actually go. I'm a vet. I'm pretty patriotic, and this hasn't been allowed since there was actually a terrorist attack on it. But I would love to stand inside of the torch of the Statue of Liberty.
That's a good one.
So that you can go to the crown, but you can't go to the torch anymore.
Right.
Because there was
World War I was when they stopped doing that.
Yes.
Good call.
So they stopped doing that in World War I after some explosives were set off there. And so that would be something for me. I think that the whole story of the Statue of Liberty is super cool. It started out, a lot of you guys, I don't know if you know, that it started out bronze. It was, sculpted in France, piece by piece. They actually erected it in, I can't remember exactly when it was, but they actually brought it up before they brought it over. They took it down, they shipped it over. They created it here, and it started bronze. And because of the unique saltwater, wind, weather effects, it turned green. They did a renewal project on it in the 70s or 80s that made it bronze again. It's now back to being green. So super cool thing, a super sign of just our acceptance as a country into the world, and awesome present to get from another country. Still a symbol that I think that most people look upon very fondly, despite the fact that it's a lot of controversy in the country. But I still love what the United States is supposed to stand for. So Statue of Liberty for me.
I'm torn between two. The Great Pyramids. I can't imagine being there in person or going on top of one, and the other, it's kind of a cheat, maybe not standing in front, standing inside of the Vatican, like Vatican City, the library, all the shit that they have that's secretive and whatnot. I'm not that religious, but just being in there would be insane. Seeing stuff that people can't see, don't see. I don't know. It's crazy to think, but those would be my two.
I thought for sure you guys were gonna say the top of Mount Everest. I just feel like that's a common.
Too many dead bodies.
People die up at the top.
Well, they die all
the
way. They're literally
I thought they die ascending. Yeah, I thought they die heading up there. I don't know, but that anyone died.
Some of them died up top. Some have just died coming back down. There was that famous guy. I think Green Boots was what they affectionately called him, but that was somebody that died right along the ascension path. That was perfectly preserved because it's so frozen up there, and he was there for 27 years, perfectly preserved. And then they finally, I think, moved the body. But. Nah, that's brutal, homie. I'm good.
Yeah.
Some people are just oh, why you climb mountains? Because it's there. I'm like, that's not a good enough fucking reason.
Yeah, no, give me the sunshine, give me good temperature and good weather. I'll sit on Jesus's hand, even if you don't believe in who he was. I don't care about that. I'll sit right there in the palm and overlook the city. Like Matt said, that view is second to none, man. That shit is crazy.
It's like the Grand Canyon. People go to the Grand Canyon, and listen, no doubt, it's beautiful. I've been to the Grand Canyon, fantastic. They were like, "Do you want to go down on you can go charter an expedition down into the Grand Canyon on mules or whatever?" They want you we want to do that. I'm like, fuck no, that sounds terrible. I'm cool looking at it from up here,
right?
I don't need to do all that extra stuff.
I've done Niagara Falls.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I've done it. I went to Niagara Falls. I had a bomb ass wrinkle free shirt, and I gave it to someone, and I didn't get it back. I don't know who she was or why she got it, but I was with my girl at the time, and this lady was there. And I'm cold. I'm so cold. I was like, here you go. You can have this. I had a wife beater on underneath, or an athletic shirt on underneath. I gave her my shirt. She never gave that shit back, but it was a great view, nice breeze. But Niagara Falls was cool to look over as well. But I just can't imagine it's going to compare to the places that we named. The Torch was a really, really good one, Matt, especially because it's banned now. There's something about forbidden fruit. It's just something about you're not allowed to go here anymore. And it's okay, let me in. The area, what is it? Area 61, Area 51
in New Mexico. Yeah.
Right. Like I don't think that it holds so much allure, but it's just the fact that we know it exists and we're not allowed to go there. There's just places like that. I would love to go. I don't know of a high point or a peak there, but I would love to go to what's it called? Antarctica. Right. They say like there's military bases of all countries just surrounding it. You're not allowed to go in there anymore, right? The South Pole. The North Pole we're allowed to visit. It's the South Pole we're not allowed to. Right. So like I would love as a regular citizen of a country to just see what they don't want us to see. But I don't know if there's any peaks there that I could sit and, chill on. So that's why I didn't name that. But this was a really fun question. So thanks for throwing that in there. Yeah.
By the way, shout outs. Listen, Mike, what you said about the Niagara Falls, climbing Mount Everest just because it's there, hiking down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, bro, that's like going over Niagara Falls in a fucking barrel. That's what that's like. You know what I mean? Like it's totally different. Yeah. One thing I got at least on as a honorable mention, dude. Have you guys seen the tennis court on top of the Burj Khalifa?
Yes, that shit's crazy.
No, you got to send me a link. I don't know what you're talking about. This is great.
Dubai. That shit is crazy. Have you seen it, Mike?
It's in Dubai. No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
The Burj Khalifa is like the tallest building in the world, and they have a tennis court like on the roof.
On the very
Google
top.
it real quick.
It's the tallest building in the world?
Yes, the Burj Khalifa.
Let's see if I can spell this right. Let's see. Khalifa tennis court. Oh, look, it came right up. This is the tallest building in the. Oh, I saw this shit in the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, it was in a Mission Impossible movie.
Yes, I've seen the building before.
This building is like 2,600 feet tall.
Are you serious?
Look at that shit.
Yeah, but it's not next to anything.
No, it's the helicopter pad, but they converted it to play tennis on it.
Oh my God!
But could you imagine, dude? Like,
look at that.
Hell no.
I would vomit. I would be up there and I would throw up. I absolutely would vomit at the top of this. And the building is tall all on its own, but then there's like a pad off to the side, like it's on a toothpick, and it's like, oh, come run around up here. Fuck you. No way I'm running around up there. No. I would trip and just think I was gonna die. Like I'm clumsy already. No way I'm running around up there. You want me to return volleys? Fuck you, dude. No way that's happening. You guys can't see what I'm looking at right now.
Bro,
there's no way.
Could you imagine just situationally you're locked into the game and you fucking forget and you go to make like a diving play and go right off the edge of that bitch? Like, oh shit.
Oh my God. And by the way, the water underneath, crystal clear. Yeah. It is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
One of the best things I've ever heard about not getting too far ahead of yourself or being overly ambitious is every single body on the way up to Mount Everest was the most ambitious person you'll probably ever meet. Had a ton of goals, thought he could do anything, was that guy to take on any challenge, and look where it landed them. So it's okay to stay in, it's okay to not push yourself every time to 100. Take it easy sometimes and don't kill yourself getting to Mount Everest, literally.
That's a good point.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for this show. I got to go do some dishes. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. I promised Ash I'd get it done before the show. Did not get it done before the show, so now I got to do it after the show. But that's all right. That's part of being a good partner, house partner, husband. I love the 49ers. I love this season, and I love this podcast with you gentlemen. Another great season is wrapping up, but I couldn't be happier, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in, hitting like, hitting subscribe on every episode. It helps more than you think. Gray Fox, I didn't see you in the chat, but I promise you, come back on the recap show. We'll get your chat read. I apologize again for missing it in the preview show. We always like to get to every chat, even if they're not super chats. So I hate that we missed it. But I hope everybody has a great night, and we'll be back. I don't know. Probably going to be a little too late, but maybe Tuesday.
Probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Probably Wednesday, right?
Okay. That's
just because like it's Christmas, man. Like
right,
I don't know if we're going to do a recap show on Christmas. I don't know. Mike's ambitious. He might.
Listen. Let me ask you this question. You put me on the spot, so here you are. I want to do a 24-hour stream of 49ers coverage. Would you guys take the bait on that?
Like, I don't know if I could do 24 hours straight, but I pop in and pop out over the course of 24 hours.
Well, if you guys were to come back and come, like just sporadically throughout it, if you can give me 12 hours of the 24-hour stream and you just come in and see what I'm talking about and let's just rock.
Mike, you could kill 18 hours talking about Colin Kaepernick alone. I guarantee you. Just topic, not even a question, just topic. Colin Kaepernick, and then open up the chat with the link to the show and let the floodgates go.
I've been thinking about this for about a year and a half now, a 24-hour 49er stream. And this is something I've been thinking about. I just got to get like 3 days off in a row because if I'm going to burn 24 hours, I got to catch up on my rest at some point. You know what I'm saying? So it can't be a 2-day span. It's got to be something where I got 3 days off. If you guys tell me that we can do this, what if I tell you what, if the Niners are going to the Super Bowl during that Super Bowl week, I'm going to need you guys' contribution. I will do a 24-hour set. I want one of you guys on popping in and out for at least 6 hours of it, not simultaneously. So that covers 12 hours.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm down.
Bam.
I'm down.
Let's go.
And by the way, if it's successful, then maybe we think about doing something like that for draft coverage.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. Let's go. I like it.
Yeah.
Let the folks know where to find you, Mike. I'm sure they already know.
No, I'm just going to plug the Patreon page. There it is right there at the bottom of the screen. Patreon.com/NB9ERS, guys. I took a little bit of a break last week. Again, I had a serious and close death in the family. So we missed a lot of shows. I wasn't able to join my guys. I didn't even watch the 49ers game until about Tuesday or Wednesday. So it was just an off week for me, but I'm back. We are going to recover. We're going to bounce back. We are going to continue to move in positivity. And that's where we are. Nothing can stop this freight train. I told you guys we're a freight train moving at high speed, and there's only one way to stop us. You got to put a wall in front of us, and even that we're going to run through. So that's where the Niners are right now. That's how I feel. If you guys follow anywhere else, I appreciate it. But look for it, guys. We're coming 24 hours, 49ers, nothing but Niners, 49ers Hive. It's going to be a bomb podcast. I can't wait for that. I'm looking forward to it.
Mike, you got to read this comment. Joey says 24-hour stream. It's 3:47 a.m. when we're talking Booby Dixon or Chris Borland. Better what if career.
Fuck Booby Dixon. He cursed me out before, and I have no respect for his bum ass. He was a terrible running back. Yeah, I said it.
Wait. He cursed you out?
Yeah, I called him soft. He's the most hype guy I've ever seen to get 2 yards a carry. He's trash in every game I've ever seen him in. When the Niners called his number, he couldn't do shit unless it was a 3rd and half a yard. And he called me on it. Meanwhile, all the film supported everything I said. This guy could not get a run if his life fucking depended on it. And he called me out on it. And I'm like, dude, just put up or shut up. And he couldn't do it. But it's all good. I digress. I saw him go to Buffalo, and you failed over there as well. But it is what it is. So, that's how it works. I can't believe
Dixon
someone mentioned
with the OG Tevin Coleman special.
Yeah,
1 yard in a cloud of dust.
No butt,
dude.
No butt jiggle.
No butt jiggle.
Yeah, not a single cheek moved in that and those runs that he had. And all the Niners wanted him to do was convert 3rd and shorts. So fuck him. I love him though. I love him as a man, as a person. He's great. He's a phenomenal person. But as a player and as a running back, we could have done without him. So that's my take.
All right. Matt, carry us out.
Yeah, listen, in that debate, I'm taking Jenkins. I'm taking AJ Jenkins. Let's go. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Zach. This was fun. Like you said, a weird week. We got another weird one coming up with Christmas, but I hope everybody out there enjoys it, enjoys your family, enjoys this 49ers upcoming victory, hopefully. So thank you on behalf of Zach, on behalf of Mike, on behalf of myself. We love having you here. Thank you as always for joining us. And until next time, Merry Christmas and go Niners.
Merry Christmas, everyone.